everyone. Welcome to the Webcast for Monday, June 9th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning shows a very typical June picture. The marine layer is about 2,000 feet deep and spreading low clouds and fog into most of the usual spots, while across the interior skies are clear. Steady clearing is likely today, with most areas, at least away from the beaches, likely seeing sunshine by noontime or shortly thereafter. Here's a look at yesterday's lightning map. It was yet another day of widespread shower and thunderstorm activity across the Sierra and northern deserts. It's worth emphasizing that this has been a very unusual pattern for what is typically one of our driest times of the year. While all of the recent thunderstorm activity has produced a smattering of small fire starts, the bigger impact by far has been the significant amount of moisture the region has seen, both actual rainfall and otherwise just much higher humidity than what we typically expect this time of year, and that has really kept a lid on fire activity. However, we do have some changes in store as we head into the new week. For today, though, we're going to crank out one more round of afternoon shower and thunderstorm activity over the same areas as we've seen the past several days. The air mass is beginning to lose moisture, so activity today will likely be less than the past several days, but a smattering of showers and storms is still likely, especially along and east of the Sierra Crest. As I mentioned, though, we do have some changes in the works. Our weather pattern over at least the next 7 days is going to be dominated by high pressure, though Pacific troughing offshore will provide some moderating effects on the high pressure by later this week. However, what we don't see here that we've seen a lot of the past few weeks are any areas of cut-off low pressure to bring moisture into the region. Instead, this pattern will encourage persistent and steady westerly flow, which this time of year is a recipe for dry conditions. The result will be a pretty typical June pattern overall. With high pressure being the dominant influence, temperatures are going to be on the warm side for the next several days, though no extreme heat is expected. Temperatures will be about 4 to 8 degrees above normal through this weekend, with little day-to-day change, warmest overall on Tuesday and coolest to end the week, but most areas varying by no more than 5 to 10 degrees either direction for the entire period. Valley highs will generally be in the upper 80s to mid-90s, with the Central Valley in the mid-90s to low 100s through Wednesday before some slight cooling there. Deserts will be in the mid-90s to as warm as 112 in the low desert, with the lower mountains in the 70s and 80s. While it will be warm and dry across the interior, steady westerly flow will keep a persistent 1,500 to 2,500 foot deep marine layer in place through the duration of this week, with steady clearing of low clouds expected each day. This will continue to keep coastal areas cooler. And again, the main difference between most of this week and what we've seen the past couple weeks will be the drier conditions, at least away from the marine influence. After today, other than maybe a highly isolated shower in the same areas tomorrow, no shower or thunderstorm activity is expected across the region through at least the upcoming weekend. Humidity will also be on a lowering trend. Minimum humidity will be mainly between 12 and 25% above and inland from the marine layer influence today and Tuesday, then drop into the single digits and teens from Wednesday through at least the upcoming weekend. Winds will be primarily local and terrain-driven for the next several days. However, a steady westerly general flow will bring enhanced breeziness during the afternoon and evening hours pretty much every day, and the wind-prone mountain ridges and desert passes will frequently see afternoon and evening winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts to 40 miles per hour, and occasionally higher. In terms of fuel moisture, we should see steady drying trends in the dead fuels for most of this week, especially above and inland from the marine influence, particularly from the middle of this week and onwards. This will start to work out some of the excess moisture we've seen in recent weeks, with dead fuel moistures trending below average by the upcoming weekend. Tying it all together for our fire potential, the warm, dry, and at times breezy conditions should lead to gradually increasing significant fire potential over the next 7 days, again especially above and inland from the marine layer. I wouldn't expect a sudden flip of the switch to significantly heightened activity. We're still going to be working out some moisture from recent weeks, and the new pattern we're going into isn't extreme by any means in terms of fire weather concerns. However, it will overall feature longer burn windows, a little bit more wind, and overall better potential for fire growth where good alignment is present. Fire potential will still be mainly concentrated in the cured-out, grass-dominated fuel types, as live fuel moistures still generally remain in unreceptive territory. This pattern should encourage slow but steady drops in the live fuel moistures, which is also typical for this time of year. Expect generally moderate initial attack activity through the forecast period given the warm weather. Lightning ignitions will no longer be a concern after today, though given how much lightning has occurred in recent weeks, it's certainly not out of the question that a holdover ignition or two could make itself known with the upcoming drier weather. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Tuesday, June 10th.